We appreciate the communication and desire ways and means to improve it for the betterment of those of us here, so that we can in turn improve the lot and development of man and formulate benefits that go beyond anything that we individually might desire. I think that our question and problem today leads us to the area of means of communication with any higher powers that in themselves are directly responsible for the growth, development, and welfare of life on the planet Earth. We desire the communication so that we can understand in some small way our purpose, the proper direction in which we should expend our energies and our time. So our first prime question leading in that direction is why human intelligence is here on the planet Earth.
They had started to talk to your first statement when you came in with your question, and that stopped the first statement that they were making.
Then let us flow back to them.
Then you're going... Nothing is coming through to your specific question about life on planet Earth. Apparently that disrupted what they were transmitting.
Then turn to receive what they are transmitting without reference to my question.
So you asked that question and then everything stopped. You know that they were here for the same purpose. They came through immediately, before you even turned on your tape recorder this time. But I didn't have the opportunity to repeat what they had said.
Well, let yourself reach out and feel that we are waiting for whatever communication they have for us. Let yourself reach out and become open for the communication.
As we said at the beginning, we wish to try a different experiment today, primarily to attempt to bring in Bob into the operation.
Bob is ready. I am ready. Willing.
Are you ready to receive directly?
I am ready.
There is a new wave of communication starting throughout the world at present, and many points of communication are in simultaneous operation today. This involves many individuals and many media. There are new factors to be approached, and these will be outlined to you as we continue with our discussions in the future. There can be no doubt that many individuals are today receiving our messages at the same time and are beginning to work in a manner similar to that which you are employing, with many different individuals on this side and many different inputs for the many different advisories as to the progress that is to be made and how it is to be made. As you will find, these are not identical in wording. We here with you today are attracted to you because of this newer communication technique that you are employing, and we wish to assist you and amplify the integrity of the means. For this reason, we wished to try a technique which somehow could involve the joint operation on your side to amplify the message and the reception. To accomplish this, you will have to both tune in simultaneously to the discussions that we are presenting to you, and you will find that occasionally one individual will be talking and sometimes the other will be talking. Both will more or less be bringing through the same channel connection, but we may have different individuals talking to each of you at the same time as in a group operation. Therefore, you should not worry about interrupting, because the subjects under discussion will from time to time require comments from 2 or 3 individuals on this side, and these may come through one or the other or of the individuals on your side. In other words, this is an attempt to get a true group discussion going so that we can multiply and combine the thoughts of the individuals in the multifaceted group that is working through the same communication channels. In this manner, we will set up a continuing program which will be more realistic and will be believed, more believable, because of the thoughts of different types of thoughts that are being projected into the conversation from various individuals. This then will obviate your worry that you are personally entering into the discussion, or that it is being largely drawn from your own minds. We are here to gather in various thoughts and various individuals to participate in this experiment, and we hope that you can do the same on your side. We are now projecting thoughts to Bob and hope that he can pick up some random inputs and inject it into the conversation. Many times we have attempted to contact you directly in this matter, and you have received the concepts that we have put before you and have worked on these concepts and developed them. Our communication with you is fairly adequate in this regard, but there has been no mechanism for verbal transcription of the ideas presented. After you have learned to develop the verbal presentation simultaneously with the thought reception, the information will flow much more freely. In this regard, a third person would be advisable because the contacts with the instrumentation are more or less deviate the mind from the information being transmitted.
What may I do to improve this reception?
Put your mind with us, not in a concentration form, but in a seeking out and becoming one with us, so that you actually are a part of our thoughts and receive our thoughts as they are entered into the system. Reach out and become one with us, or let us reach into you, may be more preferable way of stating it, because we cannot reach into you without some type of a relieving of your guarding systems which keep us out. This is slightly different than reaching out with the mind. This is relaxing so that you permit us to come in to your receptive system.
I understand the concept, and to relax the guarding systems is something I'm not sure how to approach.
These systems are good under normal conditions, but somehow or other, to accomplish the group operations and discussions that we are contemplating, the guards must be broken down and very close confidence must be maintained in the inner circle between the individuals that are in the group discussion. This simultaneously requires a greater guard or an expanded guard around the group to keep out the other influences and other minds and mentalities that are continuously projecting over the earth. So actually we are saying that you strengthen the environmental guards and release the internal guard, so that those within the communication system group are completely at ease with each other and are therefore able to, without projecting, receive the thoughts that are generated from the various individuals in the group. This then is the process by which a center of communication is developed. It requires the shutting out of the extraneous information and inputs, and the amplification of the ease of working together within the channels that are set up and accepted. To do this, you must develop the ability to project yourself into our side and to actually see and work with us as we project ourselves into your side and see and work with you. There is a selective process in this operation, and the selection is brought about by the objectives of the group, combined objectives of the group, because all members in the group at the time it is functioning must be selected and serve to the immediate purposes of this group. This is one reason why it is not advisable to bring in many different subjects or project questions in many directions into a particular functioning group, because this tends to disband the group that are set together for a specific purpose at the time. This is, however, no reason why from time to time the objectives of the group discussion cannot change. This tends to change the participants in the group, however, and it does require building up of new participants if the subject under discussion is put forth in a new manner.
I will try now to be as you have stated. What can I do to relieve more of the internal guard system?
a projection of feelings from the central part of the body, which are differentiated from the mental projections, is of great assistance in this matter. This parallels to some extent the expansion of the feeling of love, because the feeling of love and the projection of this feeling does not come from the mind directly, and it is one of the finer factors in improving the reception. As you will recall, this feeling is immediately received by all individuals on earth and animals and plants, and they are, when this is projected, the contact factor immediately becomes aware. This is the mechanism used for opening oneself up to another person or another area, their feelings, and this automatically breaks down the close guard system that we were referring to, because the expansion of rays of love from the central portion of the body automatically puts one in the position of relieving the guard and opening up the channels to others. The channels then for reception come back through more of the mental area, and although you will receive the reciprocating feelings paralleling the love feelings, which makes you aware and trusting to the individual, transmitting the transmission of the thoughts and mental things comes through the mental channel. However, the guarding system is through the other mechanisms, and by this method, when you receive in return the actual expanded feeling paralleling the love and light feeling from the individuals who you are communicating with, this allows you to judge the advisability and trustworthiness of those individuals who are transmitting to you. This is important, that this gauge or this acceptance or this welcoming into the internal communication group should take place before the communication, because there must be some selective process which defines the backgrounds and objectives and characters of the individuals participating in the communication. Only when this analysis has been made both ways and the recipients have been welcomed into the communications group, can all of the guards be allowed to be let down and the communication go forth without from then on worrying about the other factors which are personal factors in the area of the communicants. This is merely an attempt to expand upon the methods you may use in contacting us and feeling at home, at one with us, which is necessary for true communication. This is communication beyond the mental transmission of specific word information, which can take place otherwise, but it is always should be guarded because there is not the side-by-side factor of trust which permits evaluation of the information being transmitted. As I previously said, there are many points of transmission taking place simultaneously throughout the world, and these are not all of the same category in terms of thought substance. Many points of transmission are transmitting information which is contradictory to the information being put out from other points. So it is very important that the decisions be made as to the acceptance of the types of information that is to be developed and its ultimate purpose. These ultimate purposes are what combined ultimate purposes of the many faceted points of communication are really what constitutes the sum total of the progress of the individuals of the world. Therefore, we are dealing with mass thoughts of the entire world, and these are continuously being directed in different manners by different thought transmission groups. Therefore, it is important that the overall objectives be selected and controlled and protected.
I have a new side of the recording now at work. I deeply desire to develop a lowering of these guardian systems, and for the purpose of knowing and understanding these ultimate reasons for this communication. How then can we also determine what individuals to include within this communication circle?
This is just John speaking at present time, but it seems to me that the same technique that was just previously discussed should be employed in selecting the individuals, that these individuals should be selected according to the specific objectives at the time, because they will attract the communicants that they are in tune with.
Yes, I appreciate that. The question is the ability to properly evaluate or select those who are truly attracted as against those many who may come. How do we identify the properly selected ones amid the mass of those who do come?
I think you can put the test to each individual in that regard without too much difficulty after discussions and meetings with them. We have already set up a number of objectives around this particular laboratory installation, and which will attract very differing individuals with differing objectives. This is one of the selections that must be made. We were talking, the immediately previous discussion was built around the developing the technique for communications and obtaining specific information on specific areas. And this is a widely different subject from the others that are taking place in connection with the laboratories, which is the training of individuals.
What then, other than the training of individuals, from your perspective?
Yes, I'm reluctant to go along because a large part of this discussion is Lawrence at the present time.
Yes.
This is not, I don't have the much of the outside input.
The question, of course, is what particular objectives for this particular facility will best serve our concern is misdirection and waste of energy, waste of time in fruitless directions.
This, to a large extent, depends upon whether you are making yourself available to some outside groups to accomplish some broad overall mission, which is a mission to assist the world, the individuals in the world in some particular manner at this time. That is different than the other objective, which is more personal of developing the facilities, the laboratories, the contacts, the overall mechanism required to make a material facility a success in the lives of the public. These are different factors and do not necessarily fit together, but it is possible to carry on these simultaneously, but only with a large amount of protection of one from the other, because they are basically and intrinsically opposed to each other, and the individuals attracted to those two objectives will tend to negate the information that is being developed or put forth by the others.
I think that my concern is of ultimate purpose rather than immediate purpose.
This same concern plays with those groups that you are hoping to get into communication. Each group has its different purpose and its different level of objectives, and therefore is almost can be considered as in an entirely different category. But for communication purposes with any particular group, the joint feeling of oneness of the participants must be developed to obtain efficiency. There must always be a balance between the personal objectives and the desire of the group and the overall program of development of mankind. These do not always fit neatly together at any particular time. Therefore, again, from the standpoint of communications on these specific subjects, the individuals within the group should be narrowed down to more or less specific agreement in the objectives of at the time.
Yes.
This is not evaluating or attempting to put an assessment on the true value of any one type of effort or the groups involved, you understand?
Yes.
This is merely saying that to be efficient, the groups should be narrow and should be of somewhat the same background and capabilities.
I understand. Then, by certain factors of what we perform and do, we therefore attract the individuals needed to be incorporated in such groups.
Yes.
And the specific purpose lying within that group by agreement. albeit such purpose being very pointed, so that it is a concentrated effort instead of a broad-banded effort.
Since all individuals are seeking and are more or less curious about all factors, especially those that are not as yet known, possibly it is the selection of the instructors or the leaders that is the more direct method of determining the individuals.
By what standards can we so select such instructors or leaders?
By the statement of the objectives. The reaching out of the objectives in specific areas will automatically bring in these individuals.
I see. From our viewpoint, our perspective, it is difficult to properly assess the most important objectives at this point in our time. Especially such objectives as they apply now rather than yesterday or in future time. The selection of those objectives is somewhat beyond my immediate ability to perceive and understand.
The process of projecting, discussed a little previously, is also the process of selecting objectives, because what is projected, the feelings that are projected, is actually involves the objectives. That is the objectives of the individual doing the projecting. It may not be the objectives of someone else or some other group.
What then, as our group, or the group that we are forming, from your perspective, what should and can be such purpose to do, perform what?
As Lawrence, I feel that this is not extremely important, because it will automatically occur when you have established the technique of contacts and communications and bringing forth messages. These will automatically present objectives and evaluations of objectives and the tools to accomplish these objectives. So if you wish to get outside and beyond your own little area of knowledge and contact, you must develop the mechanism for meeting with others and tapping their backgrounds and information. This then automatically kicks off many different types of information and the means of evaluating objectives one against the other. In other words, I guess this is saying that it is the overall mechanisms for carrying on the operation must be developed, and these will automatically bring in the outside expansion and contact with greater and more worthwhile objectives, and the information which will permit the channeling of changes in the objective from time to time, because the objectives will change from time to time according to the state of development and the conditions of the environment being encountered.
Mm-hmm.
It is not too important to actually pick a specific objective and define it harshly, but it is very important to define an attitude and an area that you wish to fall within in order to actually open up the communications which relate to this very, very broad objective without the specifics of the actual tools or specific objectives on a daily basis that must be encountered.
Mm-hmm. I see. Mm-hmm.
The putting forth of the general feeling of desirability in certain areas will automatically attract individuals who are in sympathy is not the correct word, but in tune with this kind of operation.
John, I'm going to close down communications.
Good.
And I will count slowly down from 10 to 1, and when I reach 1, you will be fully refreshed and wide awake. Your physical body will be alert and aware. Your mind will be bright. You'll be equally balanced, fully equalized in all your mental and physical activities, and fully wide awake. 10, 9, 8, and we deeply appreciate the communications that we have received. We deeply appreciate them, and this is our feeling of gratitude and thanks as you move back and away to physical reality. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just stay comfortable, and when you feel like getting up, I'll give you some more light. And when you feel your totally fully alert. Just get up and come out.